बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। प्रथमं सद्गुरुं वन्दे श्रीकृष्णं तदनन्तरं गुरु पापात्मना त्राता श्रीकृष्णस् त्वमलात्मना अहोवकीयं स्तनकालकूटं जिघांसया पाययदप्यसाध्वी लेभे गतिं धातृचितां ततोऽन्यं कं वा दयालुं शरणं व्रजेम। नमः कमलना भाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्ध्वं हदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, राधा रानी की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। प्रिय भक्त समुदाय, दिव्यात्माओं, महानुभाव, dearest beloved devotees of the Supreme Lord, the divine souls, first let me say Radhe Radhe to each and every one. And my pranam, my humblest prostrations to all of you. Also, very special welcome to those who are viewing us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Bhakti TV, etc. Very special Radhe Radhe and pranam to all of you also. Continuing on explanation of these wonderful dohas from the most divine book, Bhakti Shatak, written by Jagat Guru Tam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu. Jagat Guru Tam, Amul Jagat Guru, original Jagat Guru. As mentioned before, this most divine saint, topmost among all saints, Rasik saint, has written many, many, many books, composed and written. Amongst them, Prem Ras Madira, 1008 divine compositions, Prem Ras Siddhant, philosophy of divine love, Braj Ras Madhuri, Radha Govind Geet, Shama Sham Geet, Yugal Shatak, Yugal Madhuri, Bhakti Shatak, etc. This Bhakti Shatak is indeed very, very special. Very special. Shatak means 100. 100 dohas. And in this 100 dohas, all the philosophy of all the Vedic scriptures, the Vedas, the Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Gita, all the philosophy has been filled in these 100 dohas. I cannot really give the greatness of these dohas. It's already very great. And each one of these dohas can be taken and explained for days and days. Just given very brief explanation, so we can do as many of them as possible. Otherwise, impossible. So we have finished so far 24 dohas. Last one we did was doha number 24. We're going to continue, and so we're going to go to doha 25. Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Radhe Krishna Radhe,
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Radhe Krishna Radhe,
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Radhe Krishna Radhe,
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Radhe Krishna Radhe.
ब्रह्म प्राप्ति पथ ज्ञान है, परमात्मा पथ योग राधे राधे।
ब्रह्म प्राप्ति पथ ज्ञान है, परमात्मा पथ योग राधे राधे।
ब्रह्म प्राप्ति पथ ज्ञान है, परमात्मा पथ योग राधे राधे।
ब्रह्म प्राप्ति पथ ज्ञान है, परमात्मा पथ योग राधे राधे।
कृष्ण प्राप्ति पथ भक्ति है, अधिकारी सब लोग राधे राधे।
कृष्ण प्राप्ति पथ भक्ति है, अधिकारी सब लोग राधे राधे।
कृष्ण प्राप्ति पथ भक्ति है, अधिकारी सब लोग राधे राधे।
कृष्ण प्राप्ति पथ भक्ति है, अधिकारी सब लोग राधे राधे।
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण 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 राधे।
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। आपको बताया था कि एक अद्वैय ज्ञान तत्व, वो है श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्म, अद्वैय ज्ञान तत्व। वो अद्वैय ज्ञान तत्व का तीन रूप है, एक ब्रह्म, एक परमात्मा, एक भगवान। So we saw that there is one Advaya Jnana Tattva, supreme indivisible entity, supreme power, supreme Lord. That is Shri Krishna. This Shri Krishna has three forms. One is Brahm, the formless aspect of Shri Krishna, the light that emanates from the body of Shri Krishna, Brahm. All the powers are there. वो भी सच्चिदानंद, he is also सच्चिदानंद, infinite power, but only one power is manifested. That is Satya, existence. All the other powers are unmanifested. It's there, but not manifested. So Brahm is told to be Nirgun, Nirakar, Nirvishesh, Nirup. He is told to be without form, without name, without qualities, without pastimes, without body. Inconceivable. The Brahm. The second form is Paramatma. This is also known as Mahavishnu. Char Bhuja, 4 arms. Another form of Sri Krishna. In this form, he has named uncountable names, form uncountable forms, gun, uncountable virtues. But our dham bhi hai, abode also. But Leela Rahit, Parikar Rahit, has no pastimes, divine pastimes, nor does he have associates. The form of Mahavishnu, I explained, is very sweet. Even topmost among Paramhans, Sanakadik, forgot the bliss of the formless Brahm, experiencing the bliss of Mahavishnu, Paramatma. And the third form is Bhagavan, the personal aspect. In this, all the powers are manifested. All the powers to the highest, in the fullest form, they are manifested. Naam, Roop, Leela, Gun, Dham, Sant, Padikar. All the powers, uncountable names, uncountable forms, uncountable virtues, uncountable pastimes, uncountable abodes, uncountable associates. This is the sweetest aspect of Sri Krishna. Most important thing is Leela. The more Leela, the more divine pastimes, the easier it is to get to love that aspect, to fall in love, to get close. So we went in detail of this three form. Now, Brahma Prapti Path Gyan, Paramatma Path Yog, the path to attain in Brahm, the formless aspect of Sri Krishna, that path is called Gyan. Gyan Marg, Gyan Path. The path of knowledge. But this path is extremely difficult. In Kali Yuga, impossible. In Gita, chapter 12, Arjuna asks Shri Krishna, those who worship you as the formless absolute Brahm, and those who worship you as the Bhagavan, God with a form, etc., who is better? Kaun Shreshta hai? Shri Krishna answered Arjuna and said, both attain. Whether they worship me as a formless Brahm, or they worship me as Bhagavan. They both attain me. But, ek lekin. But, klesho dikataraste sham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavar bhiravapyate. Chapter 12, verse 5, Gita. For those beings embodied with the body, with the body, form, us human beings, it's not only difficult, impossible to imagine and worship and love something without a form, without a body. Just to love something that has no name, no form, no quality, no pastime. What you going to love? क्या करेंगे, कैसे प्यार करेंगे? And not only that, it is filled with all kinds of obstacles. It's extremely difficult. The path. Gyan panth kripan kai dhara. Tulsidas Ji Maharaj says the path of Gyan is like walking on the sharp edge of a sword. So the Vedas also. So difficult is this path. Kahat kathin samujhat kathin sadhan kathin vivek. Kahat kathin, to talk about the path of Gyan, extremely difficult. Samujhat kathin, to understand, to explain, more difficult. Or sadhan, to do, forget it. Impossible. In our ages, some were able to do, follow the path of Gyan, but not in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga Joga na Jagya Jnana. Kagbhasundaji is saying to Guruji, in the age of Kali Yuga, no one can follow the path of Gyan, the path of Yoga, the path of Karma. Impossible. Cannot do in Kali Yuga. Kshurasya dharan shita duratyaya. Kathopanishad. Again the Vedas are saying, so difficult. It's like walking on the sharp edge of a sword. So the Jnanis, they follow this path, but not in Kali Yuga. Or Paramatma Path Yoga, the path to attain in Paramatma, Mahavishnu, that path is called Yoga. The yogis. Not those people who do exercise. Yogasana. Today, all over the world, this yoga is a very big thing. Everybody is doing yoga. It's good. Nothing is wrong. It's very good to keep the body healthy. This body we have is very valuable. Tana binu bhajana veda nahi barana. We have to keep it healthy. If the body is sick, there is pain, you have COVID, headache, fever, then you can't do sadhana, you can't do seva. Somebody has high fever, pain all over the body, head feels like it's bursted, and you sit down to chant Maha Mantra. Instead of saying Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, high pain, high pain. The mind is going to go into pain. तो शरीर बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है ये मानव देह, लेकिन इसको स्वस्थ रखना चाहिए. This human body is very important. Only in this we can do sadhana. Sadhan dham moksha kar dwara. We can do sadhana, do bhakti, no other form, only in a human form. So that's why in the scriptures, rules are laid down for keeping our body healthy. किस तरह के खाना खाना पर चाहिए, what kind of food we should eat, what things we should drink, exercise, etc., yoga, yogasana. Exercise is very important. Eating properly, not eating too much. Yuktahara viharas yukta teshasya karmasu yukta swapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. In Gita, Shri Krishna says, one should not eat too much nor eat too little. Some of us, we eat like crazy. Eat all the time. And some of us, we don't want to even eat. Many times I have to go after satsangis, devotees, please eat properly. No, I can't. I don't like food. They get sick. We have to nourish the body. So too much is bad, too little is also bad. Don't drink too much, don't drink too little. Do not sleep too much, nor sleep too little. Everything has to be done in a regulated and scientific way. The scripture says, when we eat food, we should only eat 1/3 of our stomach fill. 1/3. The next 2/3, 1/3 for water, 1/3 for air. You will be healthy. Many of us, we don't stop eating until we don't feel full or beyond full. And of course, there's the other case of few who don't want to even eat. The figure is very important. Having a nice figure. Figure 1. So along with eating properly, the right kind of food, don't deep fry and destroy everything. Preferably, it's not easy to digest food in the natural state. We're not like animals. So it can be cooked a little bit or steam, boil, preserving all the vitamins and minerals and protein, so then it'll benefit us. But mostly, as human beings, we claim to be very intelligent. We have to deep fry and spice up, destroying all the vitamins, mineral, protein, everything. For taste. What you're going to taste, I don't know. It's all the masala and the and the mircha, etc. That's what you're tasting. Because everything else has been destroyed. And then, at a very young age, 25 years of age, we suffer from the gravest of illnesses, and we wonder why. Because we don't keep good habits. Sometimes we sleep 12 hours, 18 hours, 10 hours, 6 hours. And sometimes we wake the whole night texting. Nowadays, social media, whole night on Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, etc. The disease. So we don't keep good habits, we don't eat properly, and of course, no exercise. So yoga, what is called yoga, the correct term is yogasana. It's very good to keep the body healthy, but that will not take us anywhere spiritually. Just exercise alone. Yoga means something else. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. 8. This is called yoga. Can we do in the age of Kali Yuga? Impossible. Why? The very first two, Yam, Niyam, impossible. The gist of Yam, Niyam is complete control over the mind. In the Vedanta Sutra, Shankaracharya wrote Bhashya, Brahma Sutra. The very first sutra, Atha Brahma Vijigyasa, the first mantra. The word Atha, he translated to mean Chatushtai Sampan. If one wants to follow the path of Gyan, he has to fulfill 4 conditions. Chatushtai sampan. Then you can do Gyan. Yog. Chatushtai sampan. Complete control over the mind. Complete control over the senses. No feeling of heat and cold. Complete detachment. If everybody were to die in the world, wife, husband, children, friend, everyone close to you, no effect. Then you start in the path of Gyan. And today in every home, Shivoham, 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 I am God, I am God. Nobody bothers to even read what the Guru has said. Are you qualified to follow the path? So, Yam Niyam. The gist of it, complete control over the mind. Who can control the mind? Arjuna is saying, I can't. Bhagwan Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna in Gita, control the mind. Man pad nigraha. Man pad shashan karo. Control the mind. Arjuna said, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadram tasyaham nigaham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. Chapter 6 verse 34 Gita. Arjuna says, Krishna, how to control the mind? It is so strong, turbulent and unyielding. It is more difficult to control the mind than it is to control the wind, Vayu. And Shri Krishna agreed. Asanshaya mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. Arjun, I agree 100% with you. The mind is very difficult to control. Not impossible, but very difficult. In the Kali Yuga, just following these paths, besides bhakti, impossible to control the mind. Any yogi, rishi, jnani, muni. So the first thing, complete control over the mind, then asana. Today what we see in the world, and it's called yoga, the correct name is yogasana. So first, yam niyam. Nobody is bothering to control the mind. Yes, you can fold your body in so many different ways. Some people can take their feet and put it all behind their head. So much things they can do. But do they have control over the mind? No. Little thing they get very angry. Little thing they get angry. Krodh. And yet they call themselves Yogishwar, God among yogis. A big name, title doesn't mean anything. So Gyan, the path of Gyan, impossible in Kali Yuga. The path of Yoga, koi adhikari, you have to be adhikari. It's not for everyone, these two paths. And the third, Krishna Prapti Pat Bhakti. The path for Bhagavan, to attain in Bhagavan, Shri Krishna, that path is called Bhakti, the path of love. Loving God selflessly. Bhakti. That is for everyone. Adhikari sab log. Jnani, you have to be deserving. Yogi, you have to be deserving. Karmi also, you have to be deserving. There are so many rules and regulations, impossible in Kali Yuga. But for the path of bhakti, nothing. Kali Yuga Yoga na Jagya Jnana. You cannot do yoga, you cannot do Jagya, Dharma, you cannot do Gyan. What to do? Ek Adhara Ram Gunagana. Chant the name of the Lord with love. Everybody can do that. सभी अधिकारी है. स्त्री, नपुंसक, पशु, पक्षी, bird, animal, woman, shudra. Anyone can do bhakti. There is no special qualification. All you have to do is love the Lord. Love. Everybody know how to love. Everybody can love. That's why the path of bhakti is supreme and it's for everyone. We continue. Number 26. जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे.
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 ज्ञानी और योगी लहे निज स्वरूप को ज्ञान राधे राधे.
ज्ञानी और योगी लहे निज स्वरूप को ज्ञान राधे राधे.
ज्ञानी और योगी लहे निज स्वरूप को ज्ञान राधे राधे.
ज्ञानी और योगी लहे निज स्वरूप को ज्ञान राधे राधे.
हरि स्वरूप जाने नहीं माया माही भुलान राधे राधे.
हरि स्वरूप जाने नहीं माया माही भुलान राधे राधे.
हरि स्वरूप जाने नहीं माया माही भुलान राधे राधे.
हरि स्वरूप जाने नहीं माया माही भुलान राधे राधे.
राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे.
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे.
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे.
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे.
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. ज्ञानी और योगी जो लोग ज्ञान मार्ग में चलते हैं और योग मार्ग, तो ज्ञान मार्ग में चलने वाला को ज्ञानी कहते हैं और योग मार्ग में चलने वाला योगी वो अपने स्वरूप को जान लेते हैं, मैं कौन हूं। कलयुग में नहीं, वो तो असंभव है इस मार्ग में चलना कलयुग में, लेकिन अन्य युगों में लोगों ने किया, उस पर चले, लेकिन यहां तक चल सकते, मैं कौन हूं, अपना स्वरूप को जान लेते हैं। भगवान के स्वरूप को नहीं जान सकते। क्यों? बताएंगे। Those who follow the path of Gyan, in order to attain in Brahm, the formless aspect of Sri Krishna, they are called Gyani. Those who follow the path of Yoga, the path of attaining the form of Sri Krishna known as Mahavishnu Paramatma, they are known as yogis. These two, if they are able to follow the path of Gyan as well as Yoga, they will acquire the knowledge of who am I. They will be able to know who they are, their true nature. That I am not the body, I am not this body, मैं शरीर नहीं हूं, मैं आत्मा हूं. That I am not the body, I am the soul, Atma, Jeev. Not in Kali Yuga. I just mentioned nobody can follow the path of Gyan or Yoga in Kali Yuga. In other ages, many were able to do so. In Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and even in Dwapar, but not Kali Yuga. It's impossible. So someone following the path of Gyan as well as Yoga, the Gyani and the Yogi, the most they could have attained, they attain knowledge of who they are. They realize that they are their soul Atma. It's called Atma Gyan, self-realization. But no yogi, no Gyani, just by following the path of Gyan or following the path of Yoga, even in Satyuga, is able to attain the knowledge of God. Who is God? What is God? To attain God, to know God. Impossible. Why? Look, there are two kinds of Maya. Maya का दो रूप है. दो. Bhagwan Shri Ram says to Lakshman, Lakshman, one day in Chitrakoot, when the Lord was in banishment for 14 years, he was sitting with Lakshman in Chitrakoot, and Lakshman saw a wonderful opportunity to question the Lord. He asked Bhagwan Shri Ram, what is Maya? ये माया क्या है? Bhagwan Shri Ram replied and said, तेहि कर भेद सुनहु तुम दो, विद्या अपर avidya do. Lakshman, there are two kinds of Maya. One is called Vidya Maya, one is called Avidya Maya. One is called Gunavarika Maya, one is called Sarupa Varika Maya. Many names. What is Gunavarika Maya, Sarupa Varika Maya? What is Vidya Maya, Avidya Maya? I've explained before very briefly. The Vedas say, Ajam ekam lohit shukla krishnam bahavi prajaha srijamanam swarupaha ajo heko jushamanu nushete Jahatenam bhukta bhogam ajonyah. Shvetashvatara Upanishad chapter 4 verse 5. Maya has three qualities: Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. The essence of this Ved mantra. Shri Krishna also says in Gita, Tribhir Gunamayai Bhavai Rebhi Sarvamidam Jagat Mohitam Nabhijanati Mame Paramavyayam. The entire world is deluded by three modes of Maya. The three qualities of Maya: Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. Chapter 7 verse 13, Gita. So, Sattvagun alone, three qualities: Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. So, Sattvagun alone, that is called Vidya Maya or Gunavarika Maya. And Rajogun plus Tamogun, that is called Avidya Maya or Sarupa Varika Maya. Vidya Maya, what does Vidya Maya do? Ekarachai jag guna bas jaake Prabhu prerit nahi nij bal taake. Bhagwan Shri Ram says to Lakshman, Vidya Maya, Sattva Guni Maya creates the world that we see around, the outer world that we see around us. Mountains, valleys, trees, ocean, birds, animals, human beings, that entire world we see outwardly, Vidya Maya creates, not by itself. Prabhu prerit nahi nija bal taake, through the inspiration of Bhagwan, not by itself. Bhagwan plus Vidya Maya creates the outer world. And what does Avidya Maya do? Ek dushta atisaya dukha rupa jabas jeev paro bhav kupa. Bhagwan Shri Ram says to Lakshman, Avidya Maya governs and controls us, the individual souls. That Maya has made us forgotten who we are. From beginningless time, because of our Vidya Maya, we have forgotten that we are the soul, the Atma. We identify with the physical body, the source of all our sorrows and suffering in the world. And having to rotate in the endless cycle of 8.4 million forms of life, uncountable times. All because of Vidya Maya has made us forgotten who we are. So the yogi and the jnani in ancient times, Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar, through following the path of Gyan as well as the path of Yoga, they were able to realize, I am the soul, the Atma. That's all. A lot of people in the Western world have written books, and a lot of people claim that self-realization is God realization. Once you realize, especially the Jnanis, because for the Jnani, the soul is Bhagwan, Aham Brahmasmi. So once you realize the soul, you have attained God. No. Shri Krishna makes it very clear in the Gita. Brahma bhuta prasannatma nashochati nakangshati samha sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. Chapter 18 verse 54 Gita. The Brahma Bhut means Paramhans. One who has realized I am the soul, the Atma. Self-realization. he is subject to downfall again and again. Until and unless he does something. Until he does bhakti. He's only gotten rid of one maya, avidya maya. Vidya maya is still there. As long as that jnani is in samadhi, when you attain self-realization, that person goes in samadhi. Whether it's a jnani or yogi. Meditational trance is called samadhi. You go into a trance, like deep sleep. You experience nothing, neither happiness nor sorrow. There's a bliss that nothing in the material world can compare to. The happiness the person who goes into samadhi, because it's divine. It's no longer material happiness. He experiences the happiness of the soul, Atma. It is so great that the person thinks they have attained everything. That's why those who have attained self-realization, they say this God realization is so great. But then they fall. As long as they're in samadhi, they're okay. But the moment they open the eye, vidya maya will take hold and they fall. And I've always given one of the best examples in our scriptures, the example of Jar Bharat. In Bhagavad Mahapuran, Bharat was so great. This whole world before was known as Ajanabhavarsh. Because of Bharat, the world became known as Bharatvarsh. He was so high, reached such a high state, Paramhans to the highest. Yet he became attached to a deer. That is the Vidya Maya. Became attached to a deer, that when he died, he had to become a deer in the next life. Not going to go in detail here. You've all heard the Katha many times, it's in Bhagavad. So if self-realization is God-realization, how could Bharat fall? Once you attain God-realization, once you become free from Maya, Maya can never affect you ever again. Sada pashyanti suraya tad Vishnu paramam padam. The Vedas say, Maya can no longer affect you. You can never fall again. If after attaining God realization, Maya can affect us and we'll fall again, then what's the use to attaining God realization? You'll fall again. So the jnani, the yogi, he crosses avidya maya, rajogun, tamogun. But sattva gun is there, vidya maya, gunavarika maya. For that, we have to surrender to Shri Krishna. We have to do bhakti. So this is the most that the jnani or yogi can attain, but even then, they fall again and again. They cannot attain more than that through the path of jnana, the path of yoga. Number 27. 28, sorry. 27. Yeah. Okay, yeah. This thing is fallen. Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे।
ज्ञानी अरु योगी जब कृष्ण भक्ति उर आन राधे राधे।
ज्ञानी अरु योगी जब कृष्ण भक्ति उर आन राधे राधे।
ज्ञानी अरु योगी जब कृष्ण भक्ति उर आन राधे राधे।
ज्ञानी अरु योगी जब कृष्ण भक्ति उर आन राधे राधे।
कृष्ण कृपाते कृष्ण कृपा ते ही तबे पावे ब्रह्म ज्ञान राधे राधे।
कृष्ण कृपा ते ही तबे पावे ब्रह्म ज्ञान राधे राधे।
कृष्ण कृपा ते ही तबे पावे ब्रह्म ज्ञान राधे राधे।
कृष्ण कृपा ते ही तबे पावे ब्रह्म ज्ञान राधे राधे।
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण 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 राधे।
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। तो पहले बताया कि ज्ञानी और योगी अपने स्वरूप को जान सकते हैं, यहां तक जा सकते, लेकिन भगवान का स्वरूप जानने के लिए तो भक्ति करनी पड़ेगी। भगवान की कृपा अनिवार्य है, इसके बिना काम नहीं बनेगा। So was told before, the jnani and the yogi, the one following the path of jnana, following the path of yoga, the most they can attain, and not in Kali Yuga, other ages, they attain knowledge of the self, realizing I am the soul, the Atma, self-realization, Atma Jnana. But they cannot attain Brahma Jnana, knowledge of God. To attain Brahma Jnana, grace of Shri Krishna is compulsory. Without Shri Krishna grace, without the grace of Shri Krishna, no one can become free from Maya. No one. Gunavarika Maya, that is Sattva Guni Maya. No one can attain knowledge of Brahma. Bhagavan Krishna makes it clear in Gita. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvatu gyata vishate tadanantaram. Without bhakti, Shri Krishna is saying in chapter 18, verse 55, Without bhakti, without following the path of love and Shri Krishna, no one can attain Brahma Gyan, knowledge of God. Whether he is yogi, jnani, whoever. So Krishna Kripa, grace of Shri Krishna. How are we going to get Shri Krishna grace? We have to do bhakti. Vishuddhayatinantaratma Krishna padam bhoja bhakti mrite. Even Jagat Guru Shankaracharya, he is admitting without bhakti to Shri Krishna, no one can make the heart, the mind pure. The condition for knowing God. Nirmala mana jana so mohi pava, mohi kapat chal chidrna bhava. Sri Ram is saying to Sugriv, only those who are pure in heart, pure mind, can know God, see God, attain God. He says, I cannot tolerate deception, deceit, fraud. Pure heart. And how to make without Krishna bhakti? Impossible. So, the jnani, if he does bhakti, he can attain knowledge of God. The yogi, if he does bhakti, so jnana alone will give Atma Jnana. Yoga alone will give Atma Jnana or Siddhis. Through the path of yoga, people want to attain Siddhi. Anima, Laghima, Garima. Powers to perform miracle. Again, impossible in Kali Yuga. After thousands and thousands and thousands of lifetimes, that yogi attains siddhis, powers to perform miracle. He can do great things, walk on water, walk on fire, fly in the sky, remain buried under the earth for years. He can enter in our mind and know exactly what we are thinking. But the problem, the moment he utilizes that power, he loses it. He will never attain Bhagavan. Mostly people follow the path of yoga to attain siddhi, powers to perform miracles. It's very dangerous. So, if the jnani adds bhakti, jnana plus bhakti, he will attain God. That becomes jnana yoga. If the yogi adds bhakti to the path of yoga, he attains God. The karmi adds bhakti, the one following the path of karma dharma, varnashram dharma. He adds bhakti, it becomes karma yoga. The teaching of Gita, he attains Bhagavan. So everywhere bhakti is important. Tehi adhina jnana vijnana. Every path requires the help of bhakti. And bhakti swatantra sakala sukha khani. The path of bhakti doesn't require the help of any other path. It is swatantra, independent, free from all paths. It doesn't need jnana, it doesn't need yoga, it doesn't need karma. No. Bhakti alone. Pure bhakti. But every path requires bhakti. In order to attain the grace of Bhagavan, we need to do bhakti. We go on. Next verse, 28. Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Radhe Krishna Radhe,
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Radhe Krishna Radhe.
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Radhe Krishna Radhe.
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Radhe Krishna Radhe.
कोटिन ज्ञानिन मध्य को प्रेम सुधारस पाय राधे राधे।
कोटिन ज्ञानिन मध्य को प्रेम सुधारस पाय राधे राधे।
कोटिन ज्ञानिन मध्य को प्रेम सुधारस पाय राधे राधे।
कोटिन ज्ञानिन मध्य को प्रेम सुधारस पाय राधे राधे।
जिमि सनकादि शुकादि मन ब्रज रस रहे डुबाय राधे राधे।
जिमि सनकादि शुकादि मन ब्रज रस रहे डुबाय राधे राधे।
जिमि सनकादि शुकादि मन ब्रज रस रहे डुबाय राधे राधे।
जिमि सनकादि शुकादि मन ब्रज रस रहे डुबाय राधे राधे।
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण 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 राधे।
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। करोड़ों ज्ञानी में कभी भी एक ये भक्ति रस, ये प्रेम रस पा सकते। Amongst millions and millions of jnanis, there is seldom one who is able to attain the bliss of divine love, bhakti. Muktanapi siddhana narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, 6th canto, 14th chapter, 5th verse. The Bhagavat Mahapuran says, amongst millions and millions of jnanis, those following the path of jnana in order to attain the bliss of the formless absolute Brahma, there is seldom one who succeeds in attaining the bliss of divine love of Sri Krishna, bhakti. And how do they attain it? Through their own self-effort? No. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says, Tatta Gitadi Shuktanam Chaturnam Adhikarinam Madhya Yasmin Bhagavata Kripa Syatat Priyasyava Sakshina Tattat Bhava Chuddha Bhaktadikarivan Yathe Bhashaunakadishcha Dhruvaha Sacha Chatushsanaha. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rup Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that Shaunak, Dhruv, Sanak Sanandan Sanatan Sanak Kumar, and other self-realized souls were able to attain the bliss of divine love only through the grace of a Rasik saint. A Rasik saint, one who has attained that divine love by doing bhakti of Sri Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. It's called a Rasik. One who is drinking that divine bliss of Sri Radha Krishna. Only through His grace. Sadhano gairanalabhye yalabhya suchiradapi bhakti samit sindhu. Bliss of divine love, bhakti cannot be attained by self-effort. यह गुण साधन ते नहीं होई तुम्हारी ही कृपा पाव कोई कोई. Only by the grace of Sri Krishna. Only by doing bhakti. So the philosophy is, once someone attains moksha, liberation, before dying, if he's in the world, it's fine, and he happens to meet a Rasik saint, and the Rasik saint showers his grace upon him, he can attain bhakti. But once that jnani dies, leaves the body, and merges into the formless absolute Brahm, he can never attain bhakti ever again. But there are rare instances, like Sanak Sanandan Sanatan Sanak Kumar, who were able to attain bhakti still. Because they did bhakti in their past life. These saints, sometime in their past life, had done bhakti, and this is the result. Even though they had attained moksha, liberation, because of the bhakti they did sometime in the past, they got the blessing of being able to meet a Rasik saint, taking a form, coming back in the world, meeting a Rasik saint. Many saints, Sanak Sanandan Sanatan Sanak Kumar, Udho, great saints, Paramhans, they are begging Sri Krishna to become a creeper, a grass, a vine, a tree in Vrindavan. So when the gopis will walk, the dust of their feet will fly and come on them, and they'll become blessed. Such is the greatness of divine love, divine bliss, Premanand. So, there are instances, but it's a very special grace. Very special grace. Even if, and very rare, as I said, one amongst millions and millions, billions of jnanis, those who have attained the formless absolute Brahm, succeed in attaining the bliss of divine love. Very rare. This is the exception to the rule. And this is a very special grace of the Rasik saint of Sri Krishna, that the soul is able to meet a Rasik saint, and that Rasik saint showers his grace upon that soul. He is able to attain bhakti, Premanand, the bliss of divine love. We will stop here for tonight and continue from number 29 from tomorrow night. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Siyavar Ramchandra ki jai, Pavan Sut Hanuman ki jai, Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai, Shri Yugal Kunj ki jai, Shri Guru Dham Bhakti Mandir ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, जय जय श्री राधे